It's an art and a pastime passed down from generation to generation, geometric shapes and fabrics that tell a story. But you don't have to be Betsy Ross to get it right. Joining us on how to make quilting a new hobby is Becky Robinson, owner of So Sweet Studio, and her manager and daughter, Bari Robinson. Ladies, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You are joining us from sort of the central hub of your business. Tell us a little bit more about your business and how you all got started in sewing.
Well, I'll start with how I got started in sewing. I was in 5th grade and my mom taught me to sew, and I made a lot my Barbie clothes. And so I started with that, and then I just love doing it, and I've sewn all my life, making all kinds of clothing, home dec, quilting, you name it. I love to do it.
What was the turning point that you thought, you know what, this can be a business for me?
Well, actually, I'm very crafty and like to do lots of different things. And I was all over the place with different crafty kind of things. And I knew if I was going to really accomplish something, I needed to focus in on one of those things. And sewing was my absolute favorite. So that's why I decided that was the best thing to do.
I'm kind of curious. I'm going to ask you how quilting really became kind of an essential part of your business, but I wanted to talk to Bari real quick. So your mom was in the 5th grade when she learned how to sew. How old were you?
I was 19 when I started sewing, so not super long time ago, but I had zero interest in sewing growing up, even though mom sewed forever. But I started working part-time in the store in college. And I was surrounded by all the cool stuff you can do, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I could do this. So I've done it ever since. So not a super long time, but I really, really love it.
What do you particularly like to sew?
I've been on a garment sewing kick recently, actually, more than quilting. I mean, I do both, of course. I do teach a lot of our classes and stuff, but I've really been more into garment sewing recently.
Really? So you actually teach as well. You
Yes.
got to have a pretty good foundation of know-how in order to impart that wisdom onto novices such as myself. But Becky, so you kind of focused on quilting, and that's what we're talking about today. Tell us a little bit about the history behind quilting and how it's evolved over the years.
Well, quilting was probably one of the first original arts that homemakers did from day one, like way long time ago. In my personal family, quilting has been a huge part of our history, and my grandmother's, and Bari is a 5th generation quilter in our family.
Wow.
Quilting is just huge because it's a way to incorporate warmth to, give us gifts. It doesn't matter what size it is. It fits, one size fits all. A lot of people make memory quilts from t-shirts or clothing or anything like that. So it's got a very personal connection that way. And it's just a really popular pastime.
Yeah, it's also
right
kind
now.
of an art form. Like, I kind of like it because it can be very creative.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't have to serve a purpose necessarily. Like, it can just be a creative outlet. So that's
Absolutely. A lot of museums, especially that pay homage to just America in general, you always see quilts, very old quilts being hung on the wall, and they tell a story.
Yes.
Whether it's through the colors or the shapes, or maybe you can talk a little bit more about that, and if you can spot where something is from just based off of those elements.
Well, I'm sure that somebody that is exposed to the history could do that. I'm not that official on those. I do have a very good quilt collection, though. My dad actually bought a lot of quilts at auctions, and the ones that my grandmothers had made. So we do have a personal collection.
I think a lot of time it was a sense of community as well, because people would get together, like, for quilting bees.
True.
Like, if someone was getting married, they would get together and, like, create a quilt for that person. So it can be,
do you know of any sewing circles in the Low Country?
Well, sewing circles, it would be called more like the guild. There's a guild here in the area. It's Cobblestone Quilters Guild, and our store is a supporter of that guild, and we are all members here.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's probably the best way for somebody to other than taking a class here at our shop, to get connected with other quilters and, you know, just learn different things.
Absolutely. I've got 2 more quick questions for you ladies. So quilting, is it difficult to learn? Is it easy to do?
Yes, it's easy, but you do need to
technique.
There is technique to
it.
Bari can address some of those things we do in our class.
So it's important to have the right tools in order to get a nice result. Obviously, if you're just starting out, there is you know, a certain margin for error, I guess I'll say, but I think starting out with the right tools, a good working sewing machine, having a 1/4 inch foot, which is probably a foreign term, but it gets you your good seam allowance so that things will look nice in the finished result. And just having like good quality fabric and thread is important as well, because you know you want that thing to last. So
Sure.
you know,
And a plan, have a design in your mind. Well, speaking of tools, I just want to point out the one that's sitting right behind you. So we have now evolved into the 21st century as far as tools are concerned. Can you tell us real quick what that machine is behind you?
Yes, this is the Brother Stellaire XE1. It is an embroidery machine, but you can do quilting with embroidery. And yes, it's basically a computer in a sewing machine. You just kind of press some buttons and you can press go and it'll do it for you.
It's
so
fun. It's really fun.
It's really fun. And
you can even use your smartphone. There's an app that you can download that'll tell you when it's ready. It's amazing.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yep.
But finally, ladies, where can people find you?
We're at 81 Old Trolly Road in Summerville, South Carolina, and we would love to have you pop by.
Sounds great. I would love to come and see your workshop. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing your art with us.
Thank you.
We're back after this.